I want to know how people are surviving. Because if your electric bill looks anything like mine or close to it, I mean, mind you, I have a 2-family home, but it has 3 floors. My tenant does pay her own utilities. I am in charge of my floor and the basement, you can say. And this is what it came out to. It's usually like 400. You know, in the summer, it could probably be like 500 because of the central air. And I do have a pool. But to survive this, I live in New Jersey. I know that it's in other states also, but
For those of you that can't read that, it's $758, folks. It must be monthly. 33 days is her bill. It's an interesting billing cycle.
I live in and it's not even the best town. I live in an expensive town. Rents here are astronomical. They're just insane. And being able to pay your rent and then you have to pay a bill that's this high, or even let's say in the 500s, how are people even doing it? How are people surviving? I just don't get how a governor, a mayor, anybody can really allow this to happen to your people who vote for you. And I'm not even a political person at all. But this is crazy. I don't know how people are going to make it. They're going to be paying their rent and sitting in the dark because who can afford this? I am so grateful that right now, because anything can change, we can afford to pay for this. But who's to say next month or the month after, if something happens, we can't afford that. We wouldn't be.
Especially with all the layoffs and all the AI-driven layoffs, federal layoffs. I mean, the economic slowdown. People are pulling back now, and they've been pulling back, but it's becoming more noticeable. Because the cost of living, your job depends on someone else spending money. So if people overall slow down on spending, that's going to be another reason for jobs to get, you're going to get laid off. Anyways, let's finish up what she has to say. We got a lot of economic news to get caught up on today, folks. It's worse than I thought, but let's finish up what she has to say about her bill, electricity bill, and everything else she's talking about here.
Be able to afford that. I don't know how people are doing it. People that have young kids, this is crazy. And they're just doing it. They're just sticking it up our
Don't say it.
asses, and we just have to figure it out. We just literally have to figure it out. We've been figuring it out for many years, and it's just getting worse and worse. Something's got to give. I wouldn't even know where to even begin.
She asks, how are people doing it? We talk about it frequently here. People are doing it based on borrowed money and credit for the most part, and taking money out of their 401ks, and a lot of people now no longer contributing to 401k. So people are doing less saving and more spending and more going into debt to keep this thing going.
Because I'm not into politics. I'm just dumb as a doorknob when it comes to any of those things. But this just opened my eyes. My husband went yesterday to pay the bill, and it was $1,900. And he's like, where? They wouldn't give him any information because his name is not on the bill. So I looked at it this morning, and look at me. I have hives because I just can't believe it. And I feel for people that have to pay something like this and can't really afford it because you're not even making that much money either.
Financial stress is real, folks, and it's giving her hives. She thinks it's from the stress of finances.
Minimum wage is insane. I just can't. I don't know how people are going to survive this. It stresses me out. It really stresses me out. At this point, all I could do is hope and pray. Really, because I really wouldn't know what to do, how to do it. I don't even know what is this? Delivery? What the hell is anybody delivering? Nobody ever came to.
Supply charges, cost of electricity, delivery charges, $242. Gosh. It's got to be for just the infrastructure.
My daughter delivers shit, and then you get a little bit of a break on the first 600 kilowatts, and then it goes up after that. What?
Wow, the first 600 kilowatts was cheaper, but then it was a little bit more. Only just 1 cent higher per kilowatt after that? But yeah, she went way over the first tier. And is it somebody? Does she run the AC 24/7? I mean, I don't know if she'll probably not tell us that, even if she did.
No, this is insane. And you could see I didn't even really use that much from June to July. No. Let me know anybody else is like stressing at.
All right, people. I live in California, and the highest my electricity bill is here is about, the highest we've seen was about $260 to $270 in a month. But we're really careful on when we run the AC, because the expensive months are the summer months for us here in California. And we're careful. We put the fans on the windows at night, those big box fans. We put them in like 3 different windows. So we're blowing the cooler air in all night. So in the daytime, we really don't have to turn on the AC until about 12 noon, sometimes even as late as 1, because it starts heating up and we have to take the fans out of the window because it's blowing hot air in. Anyway, 260, 270, maybe 280 at one point. I'd have to look back, but rarely over 300. I don't remember a 300 plus electric bill here in California, and I'm in San Diego. I don't remember that in the past 3 years at all. Now, her screen name, this last person we just heard from, Kessia Camel. And it's interesting, somebody in her comment on her video is saying that tariffs are a big part of the rising electricity bill. And I never realized this, but here's what this person said. I'm an electrical engineer who works in electrical distribution. For those that don't understand why their bill went up, it's because the majority of the equipment and supplies used to improve the grid are from other countries. To counter the incoming tariffs, they increase the rates to pass the cost along to the consumer, or onto the consumer, to be able to set budgets for grid repairs and updates. They're legally allowed to raise rates every 1 to 2 years to get their budgets passed. The recent price hike reason was tariffs and the garbage bill that was just passed, the big, awful bill. I forget what we call it. Ugly bill. They're legally allowed to raise rates. This recent hike reasons because that tariffs. Canada supplies utility companies with the wood and steel for electrical poles and raw materials for the conductors. So basically, and he left a bunch more in this comments. Basically, what he's saying is the higher prices coming because of the tariffs. They're already pricing that into people's electricity bills, and that's why you see these delivery costs and extra fees added onto these bills going higher, folks. So from what we can see, I mean, we've only been under this new administration for 7 months now, and we really haven't seen the beginning of the impact of what the tariffs are going to what they're going to do yet, because a lot of retailers, they front loaded their warehouses full of items to kind of front run the tariffs. But now I think later in the second half of this year, it's about to get much worse than most people anticipate. It's already been kind of a slow grind. Prices going up, no bubbles bursting, things getting more expensive, cost of living going up, inflation is still in positive territory, and getting worse, by the way. But I think it's about ready to get a lot more noticeable and a lot worse than what people expect coming up here in the second half of this year. Well, we're already in the second half, but in the remaining, what's left of the 5 months left of 2025. And also, one thing that we've talked about here is how it's affected people. I mean, people now are afraid to start families. Right, we're seeing the family rate basically drop, and the number of people getting married drop. The number of people deciding to make their family bigger, for lack of a better term, is really dropping. Right, take a look and listen to someone that wants to kind of talk about that here. Let's get her name first, then we'll play it. It's Danielle Lalanning, 23. Take a listen.
And especially because hot take, a lot of people are staying single, men especially, because they don't want to be a burden financially, because life right now is so stinking expensive. Like the cost of living, whether you're renting an apartment or paying a mortgage, it outweighs monthly with all your bills added up: electric, water, your phone bill, absolutely everything you can think of, your car payment. It all adds up, and nobody wants to be a financial burden. If you have credit card payments, if you have college payments, they don't want to bring that baggage to their partner, so they'd rather struggle alone, which is so sad, but that's the truth. You could work. I just watched a video of a guy talking about how he makes $70,000 a year, and it's still financially hard, which 70 grand is a lot of money in this day and age still. I mean, 70 grand where I'm from, that's a lot of money. Imagine being a school teacher. It's unrealistic. Or having children. That guy was single.
She doesn't say where she's from, but 70 grand in California is barely scraping by, if that.
Have children in this day and
Unless you bought like 10 plus years ago, as far as the housing market goes.
age. It's hard out here. That's why everyone is single.
All right, let's play that back. She says that's why everybody's single. So apparently the younger age group here are not encouraged to go out and get with people, to start families, start relationships. And let's finish up what she has to say about that.
Who's single? Have children in this day and age. It's hard out here. That's why everyone is single. That's why I'm single too.
She says that's why she's single as well. And folks, we could sit here and look at numbers and read charts all day on how good, how bad the economy is. Of course, they're going to put out the numbers that make them look better, talking about the powers that be. But when you talk to people, when you ask people, the average person, how things are going, it's usually pretty stressful and there's a lot of struggle. Even people that are out traveling, spending money that looks like they're doing well, buying new vehicles, they're usually loaded up on debt for the most part. We showed you the chart on the debt in the last video. Folks, insane. I mean, debt stacking on top of debt, stacking on top of debt. We're already, $5 trillion more than we were at the peak of the financial crisis. And there's no ending in sight. I mean, people just have to continue to borrow more money. And that's why I've said here on this channel, a lot of the economic growth that we've seen, economic activity, is borrowed money. It's lend and spend and then pretend everything's good with the economy. But meantime, people are buried. They're working really hard just to try to keep up with just basic bills. And then you try to go do something fun, and sometimes you feel bad because it's money that you really don't have to spend, but people are choosing to spend it anyways. And also sticking to the economic numbers that are put out, the GDP, the unemployment rate, even income. Income is highly skewed by the wealthy people. When they tell you what the average income is, they're counting billionaires in that. So if you look at a statistic, let's say you have 5 items that cost $1 each, but then you have one item that costs $10,000, then you average all those out, the average cost of the items is going to be a lot. It's going to be thousands of dollars, even though most of the items only costed $1. Because if you average everything out, it takes 1 or 2 high numbers to make the average look like it's higher. If you take out the top 10% on these income numbers, folks, the numbers that we're seeing right now, the average income, is much, much worse than we're being told, because it takes a few high earners to really make that average look much higher. You see what I'm saying? So here's even a recent report that just came out here out of Axios. Take a look at this. The U.S. economy depends on the rich. So how much of the economic activity is the top 10%, the rich people, the millionaires, buying yachts, buying up everything because they can afford to? Even the housing market, how much of that is propped up on wealthy investors, hedge funds, Wall Street basically coming in and buying up homes, right? That's keeping the prices of homes elevated, because if you just look at what the average owner occupant can afford, can't really afford much, and prices would come down a lot if you didn't have these mega rich kind of skewing the numbers, buying things, keeping prices inflated. But even the economic data is highly skewed by this here. That could hurt the labor market. The U.S. economy depends on the rich, basically. Wealthy Americans in the top 20% continue to grow their spending. That's because they're taking up much more of the wealth. Look at this. Top 20% spiking in what they're spending. And the bottom 40%, they're spending more because everything costs more. But they're not spending more because they have much more to spend. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference here. But let's hear from a couple other individuals kind of breaking down what they're going through, what they feel, and what they think's happening.
We're not asking for free healthcare. We're asking for the ability to afford healthcare. We're asking for a livable wage. Right now in the United States, a pound of ground beef has surpassed minimum wage. A bag of family-style potato chips has surpassed minimum wage.
Stop eating chips, bro. I'm just joking. A lot of people would say that. Stopping the consumption of unnecessary foods like snacks and stuff like that would help, but it's really going to barely scratch the surface of how much money people really need to save to really kind of start getting ahead again.
For 40 hours a week for 40 years of our life, we get a house, we get a car, we have a pension plan, we have the ability to retire because we've given the best of our lives to you. We've given the best that we have to feeding the American machine, the American dream. You got to be asleep to believe this. This is a nightmare.
Heard that one. It's a good one, though. The American dream. You've got to be asleep to believe it because it's a nightmare.
Most people, and I'm talking 70+%, can't retire. Most people 50 years old are now realizing that they don't have $250,000 in the bank, liquid asset, to retire on. Pensions are non-existent.
Even $250,000 in the bank to retire on is really not that much when you look at what everything costs. Sorry, I have to keep stopping it, but I just want to give you my thoughts on all this.
Social Security checks are out the door.
And they're talking about cutting Social Security and benefits for certain people, folks. It's about ready to get crazy, and the numbers are really, really skewed as well. Just like that Axios report we talked about, how the big income earners kind of skew the numbers and the markets. I mean, when you think about who owns most of the stocks, it's the top 10%. They own 90% of all stocks. So that props the market up. Look at housing. If it weren't for the big money coming in buying the homes, home prices would have come down a lot. Home prices are being propped up by cash buyers, Wall Street buyers coming in and buying these homes, folks. So, folks, something needs to change. Something needs to really drastically change for things to start getting easier for people, because it looks like things are going to get a lot harder. The tariffs are about ready to we're about ready to feel the impact of the tariffs. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's going to get much worse here as we close out less than 5 months to go as we close out 2025. Maybe I'm wrong, but let me know what you think down below. I think it's going to get more expensive, more difficult. I think we're going to see inflation going forward. Not much deflation, not many price corrections, no bubbles bursting, and they're going to find new ways to keep this thing propped up, folks. I mean, let me know what you think. Maybe I'm wrong, but read you down in the comments, everybody. Let me know. Deuces. Bye for now. Peace.